Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me for a solo road trip out to Gingerman Raceway in South Haven, Michigan in this 2025 Lotus Emira V6. Now, this is an interesting one because usually when we go on road trips, we take cars that are made by brands like BMW or Toyota or Hyundai or something, a brand that in a way sort of engineers cars to be sat in for a long period of time. But today, we have a car that was built by men in Norfolk, in England, and we're taking it about 4 hours round trip with a racetrack with laps in the middle to see if the Lotus Emira is a certified full-on track day daily driver. We'll drive this 2 hours out to the track, do a bunch of laps of the track. The Topher will do some as well, and then we'll drive it 2 hours back home and see what that entire experience is like. Now, this is the V6 Emira. This does not have the AMG 4-cylinder like that red car we had earlier this year. We're going back to our roots, how we started with the Emira, and that is with the Toyota-sourced 2GR, so basically a Sienna engine, with an Edelbrock supercharger bolted to the top of it. This makes 400 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. This particular car has the 6-speed manual transmission because of course it does for our track day. But Lotus will also sell you a very traditional torque converter automatic with this supercharged V6 as well. This is of course rear-wheel drive, and today for tires we are on a Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2, which will be fantastic for the track, but I don't really know that it's going to be great for our road trip. That's okay, we have to make some sacrifices. If you're gonna be going to the track, you gotta have a proper tire. What do we have for sizes today? 245/35 ZR20 on the front, and on the back a 295/30 ZR20. So a bit of a staggered setup. But I don't really care about any of that because I've just been staring at this insane Tangelo Orange paint. Now, our representatives from Lotus tell us this is actually a 2026 color, but this is a 2025 model. There's only a few of these in this color for 25, so if you're watching this video in the future and you have a 25 Tangelo Orange Emira, it could be this car, or it could be one of the other, I don't know, like there's 2 or 3 more of these. But for 2026, I guess they're only making 50. This is a $7,800 option. But I'll tell you what, if you're gonna charge this amount of money for paint, you gotta do it right. And I don't know that the camera picks this up, but it is just incredible. This is like McLaren MSO stuff, and it's fitting because we kind of call this the baby supercar, especially the 4-cylinder AMG powered variant gave us baby McLaren 720S vibes. The V6 one is a little bit different, but at least from the surface, visually, this thing is absolutely stunning. And I think if you're gonna have a car like this, you gotta have a bright color. This one also has the black exterior appearance pack, so we have the black top and some other things. We have the black brake calipers, and we have the sport suspension. Now, these are fixed dampers. Lotus will sell you one of 2 different suspension setups, sport or touring. Funny enough, the AMG powered car we had earlier this year had the touring suspension, so we'll be able to evaluate now the sport suspension here on this V6 car. And of course, we'll have the whole spec down in the description for you guys so you can see our entire build. Base price on this car, just under 107 grand for the 25 model year, and as spec'd, we're at $123,300. And I know that because I was thinking, actually, I should give credit to my buddy Matthew, who said Lotus is one $156 option away from this car being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, okay, we'll save the rest of the details for when we're on the road because we do actually have to hit the road, but why don't we talk about some road trip essentials before we do that? And we'll start here in the back, where the Lotus is a bit of a lift back, but not in the way that we're used to because the engine is here in the middle and takes up where other cargo room would be, say, in something like a Porsche Cayman. But we have a very good look here at our 2GR Lotus supercharged Toyota borrowed V6. You can see our throttle actuator there on the front of the engine, which you can actually see through the rear view mirror. So we'll show you that once we're in the car. But spacing behind that is a bit like a C8 Corvette. And it's interesting, I looked up like the square footage or cubic, whatever they call it, cubic feet, and this compartment is actually quite similar to what you would get in a Porsche Cayman, but just dimensionally a bit different. So we've got my backpack over here on the right, that just fits in, that's my camera bag and all the stuff. My bag of snacks that Emily packed me for the track day today, and then my helmet, which actually fits quite nicely snug over here in the corner. And I do actually have some extra room, so if Emily were with me, we could probably smush her backpack in there as well, and we'd have room for stuff. Now, Lotus puts these stickers on every car. Maximum allowable mass in luggage compartment, 50 kilograms, about 110 pounds. So, you know, consider that, I suppose. I feel like that's kind of light, no? 50 kilograms? I also feel like I never shut this correctly when I do, but that feels shut. Now, the only bummer with this car as far as places to put things is there's no frunk like you'd find on, say, a Porsche Cayman. But man, I don't care, because look at the front of this thing. These lines that go in, which is reflected on the key, which I absolutely love. You can see that they kind of copy that design there. And then on the side of the key for the drivers. I love all the little details that Lotus has put in. But we've got a bit of a cooling system up here, so it mitigates any frunk sort of situation. But this looks like the Avaya supercar that they've been teasing, or I don't know, people in my comment section last time told me it exists. I've never seen one, but I suppose that is already out there. A couple of other places to put things. We'll enter through the passenger door here. We've got, of course, door pockets, and then I'm storing my time-lapse GoPro in this little bit of netting, and then you have a tiny little compartment which you could maybe use for a small cup or something in front of our exposed shift linkage there. So it's kind of like a floating center console. You've got a little bit more storage, and then you've also got some behind the seats, which we'll show you. Well, why don't we show you right now? It'd be easier to see from the passenger side. This also has a weight limit. It says on the driver's side, I think 20 kilograms, so 40 something pounds you can have back here behind this little net. So, I mean, Lotus has actually thought of things. They have thought of practical stuff. You know, they haven't just shoved a supercharged V6 in this chassis and said, okay, it's good to go. Lotus has upgraded. Lotus is kind of on their villain arc right now, trying to compete with the big boys like Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, all of those guys that have, you know, been making mass-produced cars for quite a while. So let's jump in this and let's see if it feels fit to go on a road trip. I'll tell you one thing, Lotus knows how to make a door handle better than Porsche right now, and that's really saying something. In here we have, okay, we're gonna move this one forward too so I can show you this little tag here. Maximum allowable mass, 20 kilograms. Yes, that is correct. This is stitched in leather. You've got a lot of nice materials. Alcantara headliner. This one has the black leather seats, black leather wrapped steering wheel, but Lotus will let you spec a lot of different colors and materials in this interior. And a lot of it is no cost. They kind of just let you, you know, pick your colors, and they don't charge you for a lot of the stuff. Here in the middle, 12.3-inch infotainment system. So they've got that number down like everyone else. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. I've got the big dumb cup, even though Emily's not with us, she sent me with it, which I currently have occupying one of my 2 available cup holders here. Unlike other brands, they don't hide them behind the dashboard over there. They're actually right here in the middle, behind the shifter. So it's a little bit inconvenient, but we'll talk more about that once we're on the road. Optional KEF sound system, which, you know, we'll be testing today. And similar to a Lamborghini, you lift this little cover over your stop-start button to fire it up. When you start this, oh, forgot one bong there. When you start this, it defaults to Tour. We also have Sport and Track drive modes. We'll try those out a little bit later. And this infotainment system, it works decently. I mean, I imagine they've kind of just borrowed this from whatever Chinese counterpart they are currently with. But, I mean, it does the job. I'm not mad at it at all. Wireless charger here. We've got some physical controls for our climate. We've got a temperature adjuster here, drive mode selector, of course, and then you also have a physical volume knob. Ergonomically, the seating position's a bit strange. I feel like I sit kind of high up in this car, and I've got the seat adjusted all the way down. But we do have a good amount of adjustment. We've got some lumbar in here, so that should aid my back in today's trip. I'm actually gonna turn this down a bit. It is quite toasty in here. But it's kind of just the little details in this Emira that make me really excited for Lotus. I mean, everything's leather wrapped, the door panels, the dashboard. Like I said, we have an Alcantara headliner. They've got leather on the center console. And the details, like it says Emira on the vent tabs. All of the knobs are knurled. You've got nice physical buttons here on the steering wheel. I mean, everything in here is quite exquisitely put together. And the build quality on the last couple cars has seemed quite nice too. The headrests are very soft and plush. I mean, this just feels like a really well thought out interior. And, you know, think about what Lotus was building like 10 to 15 years ago. I don't even think they put carpet in the cars. It was just like a shell with a seat and like wood and things. So now we're actually in the year 2025 in a car that says Lotus on it. And I feel like this could pass for a much bigger name brand. So let's get this out on the road and start road tripping. I'm actually going to put an address in here. Of course, the first stop today will be Calipers, because how could it not be? And then we'll continue on to the track. All right, we're an hour and 13 minutes from our first stop. And we're going to skip the performance loop today because you guys are going to see this on track anyway. So you can skip forward in the video if you want to get straight to the track driving and see what this Emira is like at the limit. But we're going to putz this thing around a little bit to start our day. No fancy front end lift like you'd see on a Porsche, but this actually has an okay amount of ground clearance to be able to clear something like that, or be able to angle up a driveway. Mildly having to contort my arm to get around the big dumb cup. You can make fun of this Toyota engine all you want, but man. Lotus tunes in some flavor, some soul to this. Lots of little pops and burbles and cracks and snaps. What a treat we have today. And that 1-2 change is a little tough. It's kind of like crunchy, and you just gotta baby it. All the other gears you can bang them, but the 1-2 makes me nervous. So I've just been granny shifting it this week. All right, next thing we're gonna do is reset our fuel consumption. There we go. Okay, what we did there was just learn all together how to reset the fuel economy in a Lotus Emira. So this is rated at 24 mpg on the highway. So we'll see how close to that we can get. I'm going to bump this back into tour mode, quiet that exhaust a bit. We'll slow this down to like a more reasonable speed, but I want to see if this is actually... Okay, it's actually quite accurate. It's only off by about a mile an hour in the optimistic direction. And then we have just sort of like regular cruise control. Oh, interesting. This is like a Volvo in the way where one press does 5 mile an hour increments. So you probably have to hold this. Yep, you have to hold it to do 1 mile an hour increments. Driver's compartment does feel a bit cramped. The center console does sort of protrude into the leg compartment a bit. Like I said, the seating position, I don't know. We'll see if I can get a little bit more used to this, and maybe being able to rest my leg here will be a good thing. But for right now, I'm not so sure. As far as NVH goes in here, it's a little bit loud, but we're on a Cup 2, as you guys know. Torque in 6th gear is pretty good. As far as you need to make a pass, you don't have to downshift to 5th. Nice. Case in point, just breathe on the throttle, and you've got your couple extra miles an hour there that you need. you guys can see here in the rearview mirror. Watch when I get on throttle. See that throttle actuator? Very cool. Little touches like that, you know, it's like all the little exposed things in this car that just tickle the enthusiast. Right, one problem I'm finding right now is with the sun on it, I cannot see the left side of the gauge cluster, which means I can't see the speed that the cruise control is set to. So, one day, I kind of hope the digital gauge cluster trend dies. But as for right now, we've got to live with it. All right, well, speaking of living with it, I'm going to sit in this Lotus for the next hour or so. We'll throw the camera back on when it's time to go through a drive-through and give you guys an update on how I'm feeling. But for the time being, enjoy the time lapse. Only 6 minutes to the pearly gates of Culver's. I figured we would check in and give you guys a bit of an update on what it's been like to sit in this for, I think it's exactly an hour. Wasn't it like an hour and 6 when we left off? We've been getting 24.2 mpg, so 0.2 of an mpg over the EPA's estimate for the highway for the Emira. And otherwise, I mean, things have been all right in here. My back started to get a bit sore after about 50 miles, I will admit, and the lumbar doesn't really seem to cut it. So the seats, they're a bit hard and not quite as supportive as I would like. And that was the one thing I was worried about in this car, along with the seating position, which honestly, the seating position is fine. I don't feel as cramped as I did in the beginning. I think I'm getting used to the interior of this car now. But I would like a seat that's maybe a bit more plush or just a bit more supportive, kind of just go in either direction. Otherwise though, highway manners of this car are great. The steering is not overly quick on the highway, but that kind of goes hand in hand with the steering overall is not quite as quick as I would like it to be, but for cruising, it's quite lovely actually. Visibility out of this car is great. Massive front windshield. I can see the front wings as well, so I can place the front end very easily. I love the mirrors on this car. They're huge. They stick out far, and you can see the haunches that just make this thing look like a true little baby supercar. So the experience overall has been good. I mean, the KEF sound system is all right as well. We'll do a test on that on our way back from the track, so stick around for that if you are curious. As far as climate control, vent placement and everything, that's all been good. I like that they give you a physical button to switch where the air goes. You can see the little guy right there. I don't know if that shows up on camera or not, but it's a little guy with a racing helmet on, and it shows you where the air is blowing, so that's quite nice. Cruise control's been good. Just like really minimal complaints here with this car. And I haven't really noticed the NVH because I've had the sound system turned up, so when you've got the music bumping, I mean, you really don't notice the road noise or the little bit of wind noise you have in here. This is an improvement from the first Emira we had, which had like a horrible faulty window seal and it just kind of whistled the whole time. So thankfully we don't have that today. But I'm just excited to get some Culvers. It's a bit early. This is maybe the earliest I've ever gotten Culvers, 10:30 a.m. It's a little bit much. We'll be hanging out with all the senior citizens on this fine morning. But they open at 10, so you know, we're not getting there like 2 seconds after they open. We are going to go sport, so I can... This car's a little bit weird to get used to on your downshifts. Usually it takes me a couple, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it reminds my brain. See? Man, it really sounds the part, though. Brake pedal's a little weird. It's a bit like an on-off switch, so you have to be careful while modulating it because you can have some moments where you feel like you're going to send yourself through the windshield. I think that'll actually be quite nice for the track. I think, you know, it'll be good. Like the bite feels nice, but the overall kind of like progressive nature, like it's kind of like nothing, 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 everything. clutch grab point is very well defined, so it's easy to do your takeoffs. All right, entering the drive-thru now. Here we go. The only downside here of the Emira is you don't get a ton of cameras. Luckily, this is a very big, wide-open drive-thru, so we will be okay.
Hello, welcome to Calipers. What can I get best for you today?
Hello, may I please have the 4-piece tender basket with fries?
You said 4-piece tender basket with fries?
Yes, please. And then
ranch, barbecue, honey mustard?
Can I do barbecue, please?
Barbecue?
Yep. And then a sweet tea to drink. Oh, that's going to be a problem with it.
And is french fries okay for your side?
Yes, that's all good.
Anything else for you today?
That'll be it.
Can I get a name for the order?
Chris?
1 second. Any total is 12.18 at the window. Have a wonderful day.
Great. Thank you so much. I just realized the drink situation might be a bit of a problem, because we've already got one of the cup holders occupied. I probably should have just not gotten a drink. But, okay, now we come to our typical low carb problem here. Thank you. Going to the frontmost spot here. Sometimes I like to cheat and just put my pinky through to the start-stop button, because you've got this little opening here. Respectful nod there from the gentleman in that Super Duty. Has anyone ever tried the 3-piece cod dinner? I feel like it's probably really good. Where should our straw wrapper go today? In the door, I think. Yep. Thank you so much. You too. Yes. Okay. Let's enjoy some 10 a.m. chicken tenders somewhere in the lot up here. Exhaust is even a little bit raunchy in tour mode. See what I mean about the steering not being super quick? I think they could maybe speed the steering rack up a bit. But what I will say is I appreciate that this is still an electromechanical steering, or electro-hydraulic, whatever they call it. So it is still like actual steering. It's not fully electric. So I like that about it, but I do think they could speed it up a bit. Anyway. Let's shut this off and have a couple chicken tenders, and then we will continue our journey to the track. As we have actually a vehicle that shares the same engine with this pulling up next to us, let's go ahead and exit the Culver's parking lot. The little parcel shelf back there is the perfect spot to store the food that you have not yet eaten. And I'm just gonna wait for my CarPlay to connect here. And I actually lied, our next stop is going to be the gas station that's about 20 minutes from the track, so we can fuel up and make sure we have plenty of petrol. Right, 34 minutes to our next destination into reverse. It is actually quite a nice reversing camera, give it that. Parking brake will automatically disengage. This is the only area where visibility is a bit challenging, is out the back. But it's okay, we've done it. And we are proving right now that you can still operate the manual Lotus Emira with 2 drinks in the cup holders. Jumping right back onto the highway. Alrighty, well, we're gonna sit in this again for another half an hour or so, and then we will top up the fuel tank. I do love the size of this car. It's just about perfect, honestly, for what it is. It doesn't feel too big. It feels dodgy enough. Also, actually, one thing we haven't touched on yet is the ride quality. Now, this has the sport suspension, as we talked about in the beginning, as opposed to the touring. But honestly, I think it does completely fine. The car with the touring suspension isn't super fresh in my mind, but I don't remember it being that much softer than this. The sport suspension is plenty fine. I mean, it's not crashy. It's not bouncing me all over the place. So I think the differences are subtle. And what the Topher told me is that the touring suspension kind of washed out at the limit. He's more keen on, pushing cars to the limit than I am. I kind of just putz them around, and if they make cool noises, then we make cool noises. But I suspect I wouldn't really tell the difference day to day, but here we are. Sport suspension does completely fine. But anyway, I'm going to keep on trucking here. Overall, super happy with this car, and I love that I put in a B-roll shot of this already. But the shift knob, the shadow of the shift knob on the carpet is so funny. Look at that. It sticks up pretty far, so you can't actually see it right there. Okay, turn the camera off, and I'm going to keep driving. I forgot to talk about this in POV, but check this out. The driver's door grab handle is the perfect size for a Culver's medium fry, so the Lotus Emira passes this test as well with flying colors. I suppose the one thing we didn't really talk about was elbow comfiness, and actually I'm quite happy to report that the elbow comfiness is fantastic. You can very easily rest your left hand here on the left spoke of the steering wheel and have a very nice padded surface for your left elbow. Right side, if you want to rest your arm on the center console, you can. It's a little bit far back. They've kind of had to cram a lot of things. So why am I driving in fifth? They've had to cram a lot of things here into this little center console area. So, you just kind of got to work with what you have. The shifter is actually really good when you get it right. It's quite rewarding. There's no sort of auto rev match or anything in this car. You have to do it all yourself with your brain and your feet. That is it. Let's see if there are any other friends from the track. There are not. It's just a bunch of pickup trucks. Okay, well, let's make this place a little bit more colorful, why don't we? We'll get this pulled up here. Fill this up with some delicious 93 octane. I think second gear is just cursed in this. Okay, there we go. Goodbye, Culvers, you were loved. This has just about a 14-gallon fuel tank. So we'll see how much it takes. Premium fuel only. Alrighty. Jeez, must have been getting pretty low on fuel. There's 10 gallons going in. It's a Toyota Echo. 10.4 gallons. So we have just over 3 in the tank. Capless fill on this guy. Alrighty. Let's make our last little leg to the track. This car. I think the 4-cylinder might have the edge on it though, as far as like Emira versus Emira. The 4-cylinder is just wicked quick. Not that little bit of supercharger whine that you get with this too. feel like the best way to explain it is that this feels sort of like biblically accurate Lotus, and the 4-cylinder feels more so like a baby McLaren, kind of like I said at the beginning. But it's so interesting to me how the two cars can feel so different just based on the engine and transmission, with everything else being essentially the same, the body, the chassis, the interior, everything. But they feel like two completely different cars. Like you could drive them back to back and they just feel so different. It's wild. And I think they are genuinely made for two different buyers. The person that buys the 4-cylinder, maybe it's their first Lotus. Maybe they're kind of entering this world of sports cars. But somebody that buys the V6 manual, they probably had an Evora. And before that, they had an Exige. And before that, they had an Esprit. So this is more so, I think, for the Lotus enthusiast, whereas Lotus is kind of expanding to new markets by offering that 4-cylinder with the DCT. And I like that. I always like choices, and I think it's smart for them as well to kind of cater to their loyalists and then also branch out to some new people. Since we've set off today, we've done 132 miles. And we've got 23.7 mpg. I'd say that's not bad for the couple little pulls I did as well. Really excited to get out on track and just kind of learn this car a bit better. Speaking of that track, here we are, Gingerman Raceway. My favorite track for a number of reasons, mostly because I know it quite well at this point because I've driven here so many times. I thought that was another Emira, but I think it's a C8 Corvette. Oh man. All right, I'm excited. Oh my goodness, somebody's peeled the watchtower. It's just like bare wood now. Some improvements being made, in progress, but... Okay, we're gonna pull up and pay our dues here, and then we'll jump out on track. All right, switching over to the GoPro on helmet cam. One last look here at this Tangelo Orange before we jump in and see what this thing is like on the track. But what I'm most curious about is if I can actually fit in this with a helmet. And also the car really likes playing copyrighted music whenever you get in, so you got to turn that off. That's unique to me, of course, but it appears I do actually fit with the helmet. I've got enough headroom. Even with the helmet on, I've got about that much headroom in the Emira at 5'11". So let's fire it up. Let's get our wristband visible. I've missed you.
Why'd you get a Lotus?
Why didn't you get a Lotus?
I don't have Lotus money.
Neither do I.
Oh, nobody's coming. Okay.
Okay.
All right, have fun, man.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Get that 1-2 change out of the way. I'm gonna start in third, remembering tires are gonna be cold here. And let's let her rip. Hoping this is just gonna be mostly a third gear track situation. Might have to dip down into second there though. Okay. Cold tires. Gonna leave her in third for this bit. weight transfer. Brakes feel fantastic. This car does have a hard fuel cutoff when you hit the limiter. I think we might actually have enough mid-range torque in here to kind of just play with third gear. Tires are finally getting some heat in the front there. A little bit of understeer. Good idea of what this front end is doing. Steering is pretty communicative. Ride quality out here is fantastic. I think this suspension is tuned just about perfect for this sort of thing, as you would hope. As I predicted, also brakes are coming into their own out here as well. They do feel quite appropriate when you're kind of just applying max pressure to them. Put this into track mode here. Easy to change drive modes there while driving. Lost the racing line a little bit while doing that, but it's okay. Track is going to dial back some of our aids and also make the exhaust a bit louder, allegedly. I can never really tell the difference, but we'll see. Also, you get a different gauge cluster display there. Gear indicator, front and center. High school video teacher, Mr. Bush. This is the man that taught me everything there is about video editing, and now we're on a racetrack together about 10 years later. The universe is an interesting thing, isn't it?
You can stay out wider in that.
Yeah.
That'd set you up better for this.
Yep. We'll try that next time around.
And then drift out. Try to hit that other cone out there. See it?
Yeah.
All right, now bend it in.
Oh, yes.
Later.
Later.
A little later even.
Yep. But that was better. That was better than I was the first time.
Yes. Come on, start to ease out. Yep. And slide the neck cone. Got it. There you go.
Much better.
Sorry, I'm always a teacher.
No. I was going to say, I can't get through the track day without Mr. Bush teaching me more things. All right, last session out. In the Emira, I'm embracing third gear. I'm kind of just using that only. And then fourth on the back straight, but let me tell you, once you get proper heat into these tires, and we're gonna give the point by to Ray and his Evora here in a second. We've got the Lotus Lotus gang out here today. So many Lodis. There's like 5 of them. It's crazy. I'm the only Emira. All the others are Avoras. But anyway, once you get some heat in these tires, this car, the front end is just a missile, which is crazy for... Well, it's honestly, it's not crazy. It's what I would expect with this car. But you really get yourself into a rhythm with this. You really start to feel at home. Got 15 miles to E. Into third. But yeah, the turn in on these Cup 2s is just fantastic. Throttle out. Oh, the windshield wipers have just turned on. I didn't ask them to do that. Love stringing this corner together. I think I've got about 2 laps left in the GoPro battery, so we'll do one last hot straightaway here and then we'll cool her down and bring her in. But man, this has been a lot of fun. It's been a bit of a learning curve, and as the Topher said, the car does sometimes make you feel a bit ham-fisted if you mess up a downshift, of course, because there's no auto blip in this car. You gotta do it all yourself. It's going in. Take the wide line. I'm warming up to this shifter. I think it's because the shifter's warming up. The 3/4 change is great, 2/3 is fine. You know, it's all good. But all right, we're gonna chill out for this lap. And hopefully empty fuel tank. It's I've got no miles of range. That's unsettling. Anyway though, not only can the Lotus Emira get you somewhere in a mostly comfortable way, it can also take you around the track. Now, the one thing I would change, well, it's 2 things. It's the seats. They're not supportive enough on the highway, and they're definitely not supportive enough on the track. I do kind of feel like I'm falling out of them at all times. So change the seats. That's probably it, honestly. Well guys, another successful track day at Gingerman is in the books. It's time to hit the road and head home. But first, we need to get some fuel in this thing because it's telling me I have none. We've got a couple little bars here on the gauge. Empty fuel tank refuel now, so hopefully we make it. I think we will. It's just calibrated itself for racetrack driving, so and also I've got the Yeti up here so we can maybe snack on the way home. See what all Emily packed for me. Oh, she got carrots, banana, applesauce. Perfect. Well, that'll be my dinner for the way home, so we will cherish that. But for the time being, let's get these windows up, start heading home. Man's taking his washing machine for a drive. Get to give him plenty of distance. Just visions of washing machine. windshield. That'd be fun. True test to that suspension here on this road. Gotta give Lotus a kudos, honestly, for how livable they've made the sport suspension and just how dialed in it felt on the track. If you're even considering tracking your car one time, this is the suspension to go with. What a lovely evening. Colored leaves, the sun is setting. I'm in a mid-engine V6 supercharged sports car. I've just done track work. All is good in my world. Wasn't this only a 13-gallon tank? How's it taking 15 gallons? Okay, so Google was wrong about the fuel tank capacity. Okay, it's taken almost 16 gallons. We're going to Google that again and see what it says this time. Okay, I found another source that said 60 liters, which with that converted to gallons is 15.85. Okay, that makes sense, but we put 15.67 gallons in this. So it had like 0.2 of a gallon. Oof. Okay. We made it. That's okay. Let's continue our drive home. Picking this back up as darkness has fallen, but you guys get to see what the ambiance is like here in the Emira cabin at night. We have some ambient lighting down on the door pockets and our little phone cubby right there. But I wanted to go ahead and wrap this one up as we have 24 minutes left in our trip, 23 miles to go. So we've done just about 350 miles today in this Lotus Emira. And to be honest, it was better than I expected. Spending all this time today in this car, sitting in it for, I don't know, a combined probably 5 hours if you consider both 2-hour trips and then, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. Sat in it, driving around the track and, nearby and things. But it's been pretty good. The only thing I will say is that the seat is horrendous for long distances. My lower back is killing me. And I know it isn't me this time because the Miata, which we just road tripped, what was that, like a month ago or so? That had, the seat in that car was fine. So the seat could use a little bit of work as far as support for long distances. And even on the track, you guys heard me kind of complain about it there too. But put some different seats in this car, and I think every other aspect of it is perfectly dialed in for grand touring. I mean, this car really does feel upper echelon, like a whole other league above what older Lotus's Lodi felt like. And I think the fact that Lotus is making this car now in 2025, and it feels so at home in the segment. It's awesome to even be able to compare this to something like a Porsche, and I think that's a huge win for Lotus. And you really just love to see it. A little company, cheeky little company like this, playing with the big dogs. MPG on the way out was 24.2. I didn't reset it on the way back, but combined from the entire day, 14 MPG up from the 11 that we were at when we left the track. So I've been seeing anywhere, from 23 to 25 on the instantaneous little readout over here on the left. So I assume even if I would have reset it, it would have done the same 24 MPG on the way back. So the highway estimate for this car is quite accurate. But before we completely wrap this up, let's give you guys a quick sound system demo of this KEF, or KEF, whatever it's called. car like this, I mean, I'm absolutely thrilled with this sound system. You know, I hate to be like, for a Lotus, this is a good system. But honestly, I think as far as anything in this class goes, this is a pretty good sound system. There are times when you've got it cranked up really loud that it can get a little bit tinny and hollow. But at just a normal level, when you're cruising on the highway at like mid-volume, it does sound good. I would not say it's great, but it is quite good. And I'm happy with it for this car. It's got good power when you need it. It's got pretty decent bass. So, yeah, good stuff. Alrighty guys, well, I suppose to like wrap this up as a whole, I've got to say I'm proud of Lotus overall for making a car that is genuinely livable. I mean, I had places to put all my stuff today. This made it out to the track. It did the track. It made it almost all the way home. We haven't made it home yet, but I don't suspect it's going to break down in the next 19 minutes. It's been reliable. It's been a good car. Really minimal complaints with this thing. I think the center console intrudes a bit too much on the leg compartment. And talking about the seats again is just beating a dead horse. So as far as like NVH and everything, the V6 quiets down enough. It's really confidence inspiring on the highway. Like it drives arrow straight. You get the feeling you could go 160 up the left lane and you would be just fine in doing that. I like the Lotus Emira. It is road trippable. I do still think I'd pick the 4-cylinder, which does feel a bit like sacrilege. But I don't know. It's really tough because the V6 is so like it scratches that Lotus itch for me. It's so just like biblically accurate Lotus, but the 4-cylinder, it does really feel more suited to this platform. So that's probably what I'd go for, but I love that Lotus offers both, and I love them both just in very different ways. So I hope that clears things up on the powertrain discussion now that I've kind of driven them both somewhat back to back. It's been a few months, but the 4-cylinder is still fresh enough on my mind that I remember it. So I guess it'll do it here for the road trip on the Lotus Emira V6. If I left anything out, please do let me know in the comments. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope Emily's back for the next one. She had other things going on today, so she couldn't join us. But let me know what cars you want to see road trip next. Let me know where you want to see us go, and we'll do our best to accommodate, make that happen. But I always love making a road trip video, and it feels good to be back doing one in a Lotus. Never thought I'd do one in a Lotus, but here we are. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much again, and we'll see you in the next video. Good night.